I mean, I'm working. It took me some time. Painting is something that, especially with acrylic and oil. I mean, right now I'm using acrylic. It takes time. This is the final, the final, like the upper painting. I decided to not use the hydrogen, but instead to convert it to, both plutonium and uranium to the 93. I forgot its name actually. Neptunium maybe. Because first of all, it's probably simpler. You just need to add one, electron and one proton, or subtract one. And also, it's not going to be useful for atomic weapons, and will be useful for power plants, but it's still useful for some purposes. So it's kind of like, I'm the kata ownership, as they say. Probably it's gonna help you with space exploration, especially evacuation of planets that ran out of fossil fuels, and it's unlikely that that alternative green energy would be developed in time. So there will be some kind of evacuation, which is a good news, because it means that at least some of you will survive. Which if I were the judge, I'm not the judge, I'm only the messenger, and of course I have my own opinion, but if I was the judge, I've said it many times ago, years ago, that the verdict would have been very simple and just complete upgrade, total recall. But it takes more time to paint the 93 electrons. And of course, it should be done in layers to prevent messing. Because it's symbolic, you need to make sure that it's kind of in language. So you need to make sure that it's 93 and not 92. Or 94. And you should follow all stuff rules with writing colors, and I use much mixture that may contain much of the pearl colors that are the Amsterdam pearl colors. I have several of those. This can be easily done with acrylic, and it's more difficult to do such effects. Much more difficult to do such effect by mixing oil color, even though it's possible and it's actually very nice, but not for now. I'll probably use less oil in this kind of a construction, and maybe we'll see about we'll see about the portraits. It will take me some time, the portraits for certain, and even though at one night, I think, I worked very quickly. I maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, I painted 3 portraits, 2 of my daughters and also of my ex-wife, in our wedding night, and just show it to my daughters, and actually, they were quite successful, but certainly there was kind of deterioration in quality, because the first, Orin, she received the best portrait, and noticeably, Ila, because I was just tired, after a couple of hours, it was all done during one night, so until the morning, so maybe 2 hours, or 3 to each of the portraits, and there was a notable degradation, most probably because of me becoming tired. And in any case, painting takes time, but the idea is very simple, and so the question, why people are not worried at all? Why, they keep being, business as usual. Maybe because they don't believe that, I am really a messenger of the cherubs. Of course they believe it. They know it since long ago. Or maybe they think that it's impossible. Not quite. Actually, they think that it's possible because it's already happened. And this is, somewhat, kind of irrational, yet, maybe understandable explanation to this kind of like reluctance to move arms and legs. It always said, and I mean, it characterizes you, like my audience, but specifically what you should understand is that some people think like, I mean, it already happened, so like, I mean, we already kind of like, I mean, presumably adjusted our behavior to this situation, but they are wrong. And so what I will do now is, first of all, I'm going to eat something because I'm quite hungry. Let's search for something like, I mean, you know, we get everything from Google or Shemo, so we'll see what's, I mean, we have something to eat, and then I will, like, I need to wait for this to dry. I mean, even though it's much quicker than oil, it's still, I need it to be dry, I mean, for the next layer. I mean, there is only 46 electrons, there should be 93. So maybe I'll start like with the big one here, which I mean, it's gonna be similar, but I mean, maybe a little bit different colors, just I mean for artistic purposes. But it's gonna be similar. I mean, what you see here. I know that some people think that this is like a description of the fan. Not exactly, actually, but we have many actually visual, I mean, paintings of the fans of, like, I mean, the starships. The best one is actually like a close-up of one that my mother bought it for me. Like, I mean, one of the two paintings that she bought. I mean, for I mean, whatever sum, not a very high, I mean, big one, but anyway. I really like this one. I mean, the Tatanumchi one, it's called, like a close-up on a spaceship. So no, this is not a spaceship. These are spaceships in general. Although this one, this is the atom, and I will actually very soon show you some drawings that were done by the Neros themselves, which is interesting. And I mean, so after it, I will probably start, like, I mean, you know, the fourth chapter in the utility series, in which we will discuss atomic energy. I mean, we'll discuss fossil fuels a bit and solar thermal power, which is it's not very common or important right now, but I mean, it's closer to me because I worked in a company that, I mean, almost 6 years in one of the leading companies in the field. And although it has got a very big potential for space environments. So in the fourth chapter, we will discuss atomic energy and also a little bit of history, I mean, specific things that happened during the 1980s. And of course, if any one of you, I mean, is kind of like interested in scientific questions, I mean, you know, I'm always open to discussion, not only in biology, I mean, with anything that relates to science, computer science, I mean, physics, whatever. And maybe we will actually make this saga like the utility 101, Neo Utility 101, even, I mean, if you want, like, we should actually add more chapters in which we will discuss other energy-related, energy, like, I mean, in the utility scale, like, I mean, which is different, a little bit different than, I mean, energy can even in experimental scale, which is also important, but it's a different thing. Like in the utility, as I titled this kind of saga, Neo Utility, like, I mean, 101. So maybe, I mean, if there is like a demand, we can speak about it even more. But first, I need to eat something.